Hey. All right, so this is my first time going live on YouTube. So give me a second to figure this out. Wow, so I definitely was hearing myself for a second. I hope y'all didn't hear me. But this is my first time going live on YouTube. So give me a second so I can post it to my pages and kind of open up the chat so that I can see you guys' comments. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. All right. So the name of this live is My Mama Said I Ain't No Teacher. And the reason why is because as a teacher, so many times you will hear people um, say that, like you'll hear your students say, "Oh, my mama said she not no teacher, so she can't help me with my homework." Or my mama said she not no teacher, so she can't help me with this, or she can't do this homework assignment, or whatever the case may be. And so, um, for one, I just want to address all of the issues with that. And then I also kind of want to talk into how not true that actually is. So, I have some time today, and I hope that you guys are ready to enjoy this conversation with me because, as parents, for one, there is a lot of lack of responsibility when it comes to education. And so, the first thing that I want to talk about is kind of where that attitude comes from. And so, somewhere along the lines of the old days and current days, there has been this disconnect of parental involvement in the school. And why, right? So, when my parents grew up, I believe that they got the short end of the stick when it came to education. And I'm just speaking from a black and female point of view. So, they had probably like a 50-50 school, right? So there's that in the 80s, 90s. They had completely all white staff, right? There were still very much racist, systematically racist um policies being put in place, and even more, you know, underlying racist actions being taken. So let me give you an example. My dad graduated in, I don't remember, it was either 88 or 89, somewhere in there from high school. And his counselor purposely lost all of the black kids' college acceptance letters, or it was either the college acceptance letters or the college applications, like on accident, right? So this is something that in turn changes the attitude of his relationship to teachers and school staff by the time that he has a child that's in school. So he's like, oh, they full of crap, right? That's his personal attitude towards teachers and anybody that's on the school staff. Now, am I speaking for him in a way? Yes, I don't know that he actually feels like that, but I'm saying now you have this dynamic, right? And so, for whatever reason, whether justified or unjustified, those experiences cause people as parents to say, once I'm done with school, I'm done, right? Once you go to school, it's on you and the teacher because I'm not dealing with that no more, right? They have their own past traumas that have caused them to have that disconnect, right? So whether it's my teacher did me wrong and I don't want nothing to do with school unless your teacher is doing you wrong, then I'm going to step in, right? Like that is where the disconnect happens. Even with me, my own experience with education made me say my child won't go to public school at all. I'm homeschooling her. So, do I understand the reason why parents have that I'm not a teacher attitude, or I'm not, I'm not interested in being your mini at-home teacher, right? So, yeah, I get it, right? I get it full time. I get it. Um, However, I think that that's the wrong attitude to have. I think that if you did have that experience for the sake of your child, you should be even more invested in their educational journey. Like, I know how teachers did me in school, and I know how I felt about certain teachers, and I know how certain teachers made me feel. And so I want to be in that classroom. I want to be part, I want to see what's going on. I want to pop up. I want to do all of that so that I know that this doesn't happen to you, because I know that the trauma that that caused for me. And when I say trauma, I think that we overuse that trauma word, but I just don't know an alternative way to say trauma, but less traumatic. You know what I'm saying? Trauma is trauma, no matter the scale. But I just feel like when we hear trauma, we think like, oh, I'm scarred for life, which is true, but in a way, we're also saying that like trauma can be something as simple as, I don't want to do this anymore because I had that experience. Or I don't want to talk to this person anymore because I had a bad experience. That's still trauma. It's just not as traumatic, right? It doesn't cause such a negative response. So, um, yeah, so I do understand that dynamic, but I feel like the response is the wrong kind of response. And a lot of parents are saying, I don't want to be uh involved in your educational experience. I had a terrible one, right? A lot of grandparents are saying, I don't want nothing to do with this school district. I went there. I already know what they be on, right? So those are the responses that we consistently get as teachers from parents. And it makes it hard for your student to have a good educational experience. So again, I have parents and students alike say, I ain't no teacher. I can't. I give you your props, but I can't do it. And that's the attitude. And we already know about speaking and manifesting and those type of things. So when they're constantly saying these things, I ain't no teacher. I can't. I can't. I can't. She brought home this homework. I can't do it. I can't help her. And these are the things that you're saying as a parent. And those are the things that are concerning to me as a teacher, to hear there's no way that I'm gonna let my child come home with the assignment, with the homework, with the project, and I say I can't help you. What, girl? We finna get on. Especially with the amount of resources that we have as humans these days. Like, it's 2022. There's nothing that you can't Google. There's nothing that you can't YouTube. There's nothing that you can get online these days and get a face-to-face tutor with the click of a button, and somebody can help you. So to me, saying I can't is equivalent in those type of situations, is equivalent to saying I won't, or I don't want to, or I'm uninterested in my child's, or I'm uninvested, right? Because there's no way that you can't. I know that you can. I can, you can, we can. And so um I just want to get a little bit into that today. So the first thing that I want to touch on is that a lot of parents say like, I can't teach you that, or whatever the case may be. But you have to keep in mind that you are literally your child's first teacher. So what do I mean when I say you're your child's first teacher? Somebody has to teach them how to say mama. Somebody has to teach them how to say daddy. Now, I already know where your head is going, right? You're like, yeah, I can teach them how to do things I already know how to do, right? But in that same thought, you've never taught that before, especially if this is your first child. If this is your first child, it's a chance that you've never taught somebody to say mama before. You never taught somebody to walk before. You never taught somebody to ride a bike before. These are things that I can personally relate to, being that I've only had one child. And so it's still a process. Teaching your kid to sleep train. you know, sleep in the bed by themselves, not be afraid of monsters in the closet. Whatever it is, you've had a first time experience with something raising a child. You had to teach them something, whether it was positive, negative, or other, right? So saying that you can't teach them something new is pretty unbelievable for me because you've taught them something new before. Whether it was dribbling a basketball, whether it was how to skip, because you have certain requirements to even get into school in the first place. When it comes to kindergarten, I think you gotta skip, you gotta learn how to write your name, you gotta know how to hold a pencil. Like those are the type of things that I'm referring to when I say you've taught your kids something before and it was the first time you've taught it. You have to keep that same mindset when it comes to education. And I want to be clear before I get any deeper into this. I want to be clear that when I say education, I'm not necessarily talking about systematic education. I'm not necessarily speaking to math, reading, science, social studies, those type of things. I'm speaking to education as far as educating your child in life. So, um let's kind of dig a little deeper into why were you able to teach your kid in the first place? Like why were you able to get them why were you so motivated? Sorry, I got a message that just threw my mind off. But why why were you motivated in the first place to teach your baby how to say mama? To teach your baby how to say milk, to teach your baby how to walk, right? To teach your baby how to write their name. Why were you motivated to do these things? Because as a parent, once you start being able to teach your kid how to be more independent, what does that mean for you? Life is a little bit easier, right? Yeah. So that is literally all that I'm saying in this situation is that if there's any way that life can be easier for you, you find a way because it's about you, right? And not only, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm calling parents selfish. I am in a way, but that's not my only point here. So if life is easier for your kid, life is easier for you. If they don't have to ask you for everything, every time their shoe is untied, they don't have to ask you to tie it back up. That's easier for them because I don't have to ask mommy, wait for mommy, wait for mommy to do it. And you don't have to hear, mommy, can you tie my shoe every 30 minutes? Following me? Okay, cool. So, how does me educating my child benefit me? I'm glad you asked. So, again, if your child is more independent, that makes life in turn easier for you. And when I say independent, I just mean that they can do things on their own. So, what am I specifically referring to? Reading, right? So when we talk about these reading skills, um, that is something that's important just to navigate through life, right? You have to be literate in order to navigate through life. You have to read everything. So having that knowledge and helping your kids with that process of learning how to read, and I don't mean just reading, like being able to sound out a word or know your sight words is different from actually comprehending what they read. So when your teachers are saying that they need help with comprehension, I want you guys to understand that there's a lot that goes into the process of reading, such as when we talk about reading, we have to think about fluency, right? Are you reading like a robot? The girl went to, I'm stuck on this word, I gotta start over. The girl went to the store. The girl went to the store. By the time you get to the end of a complicated sentence, you don't forgot what you done said at the beginning of the sentence. So there's no way that you're understanding what you're reading. Fluency helps with comprehension. If I can fluently read this sentence to the point where I'm not struggling with any words. I'm reading it in a tone and with the flow that I can personally understand. I'm sounding the same way that I sound when I'm talking about my favorite video game. Now I'm understanding this better, right? So reading comprehension is really big, and I don't know how I got on that. But that is something that a lot of students struggle with because parents didn't instill that skill when they started reading, right? So it was just, I need you to know these words: boy, toy, girl, boy, hair. I said boy multiple times. But sight words, right? The, of, and, right? I need you to be able to read those. But then when it came to sentences and it came to paragraphs, your students were struggling, and you were saying, I can't teach you that. You don't know what just happened in that book? You just read the whole book? I can't teach you that. Your teacher not doing something right. Are you reading to your child every night? Are you helping them with their fluency? Are you asking them questions as they're reading? That's on you as a parent. As teachers, we have 30 kids in 8 hours. Y'all say I couldn't do it. Y'all put your hands up every time y'all come into contact. Oh, bless your heart, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a teacher. But you expect miracles to happen. You really do. And so, when I say these type of things that we want to be teaching our children, it's outside of the things that they can teach you in school as well. Um, you want to make sure that you're giving your child certain experiences so that they can know certain values and morals in the real world. I believe that you can stay in school for 100 years and you would never know how to operate in the real world with real world experiences because everything just you can't read it out of a book and apply it to a situation. It's not how life works. So what I'm saying there is um, teaching, quote unquote, being an educator to your child doesn't mean sitting at home and playing school. It does mean asking your child questions on a daily basis, picking their brain, asking them questions that are going to make them think, putting them in certain situations, knowing what the outcome is going to be, and then making them critical think about how that could have went differently. There were so many times where um my sister would pick at me. I have a little sister. My sister would pick at me and I would go to my parents and they would tell her to stop, but I would be like, y'all know she not gonna stop, right? She would pick at me some more and I would go to my parents and they would tell her, stop a little bit more forcefully this time, right? She would pick at me again and I would get at her. And then she would try to go tell and they wouldn't, react to me doing what I was doing because that was her learning that there are consequences for her action. Hey, she tried to be nice to you 2 times. We tried to tell you stop 2 times. Whatever she did was justified, right? Same way with um, same way with your kids. Sometimes you're gonna let them go through certain things to that. Sometimes you're gonna let them go through certain things to what? Y'all, these messages are driving me crazy. Sometimes your parents are going to let you go through certain things just so that you can understand this is a lesson that you needed to learn from experience. I know that for a fact. Um, so, you know, I- there were certain things that my parents wouldn't just pay for. They would make me save up my own money, right? Um, if you have a child and you want them to learn the value of hard work and how money works, you want to start making sure that they understand. I have kids that don't know how to count change. I have kids that don't know the difference from a $1 bill and a $20 bill. These are things that they can literally learn at home. There's no way that in the classroom is your child's first time seeing the difference between a quarter and a nickel. Okay? Y'all can hate me, but I don't really care. So You know, no matter what age and what maturity level, that's up to you as a parent. But chores and allowances, like things like that, and then allowing your child to be able to go to the store and then do the math. Okay, you have $5. The bag of chips is 99 cents. What is going to be your change? Doing those type of things with your child. Do you know if she gave you the right amount back? Did you count it? Simple stuff that parents are now shying away from, and then looking at their kids crazy when they don't know how to do it. I had a family member that worked at the DMV, and she would always say that parents will be shocked when their 18-year-olds didn't know how to sign their signature, like when it came to paperwork or their driver's license or whatever the case may be, and they would try to print. And at the DMV, they will tell you you can't print your name, you have to sign it. And nope, 18 years old don't know anything about signing the signature. You think that's on your child's teachers? You think that they should learn that in what grade? What curriculum is that on? Or do they ask you on the SAT test to sign your name? Some things are meant to be taught at home. Honestly, if you ask me, most things are meant to be taught at home, but who am I? So, another reason is that you want to make sure that you're educating your students. Just from a personal point of view, is that if once I leave this earth, I want to know that my child is good. And I don't mean that she's not going to go through anything. What I mean is, I know that she has all the tools necessary to navigate whatever the world is going to be after I'm gone. So this getting a little deep, but as you guys know, the world is constantly changing, it's constantly upgrading. I'm personally not going to be satisfied if I know that all I did was prepare my child to work for the rest of her life and die. That's what the education system is for. The system is to push out laborers to work, not to create artists, entrepreneurs, creative thinkers. That's not what teachers are taught to do. Just not something that your kid, if your kid turns out to be an entrepreneur and you had nothing to do with it, somebody did. Somebody helped that kid think outside the box because school wasn't the place. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't schools out there that teach you to think outside of the box, but most public schools are teaching to the test. That's it. In order for your school to get money, butts have to be in seats and tests have to be taken. That's it. So that is why your school will go harder for attendance than grades, because we get money if your child is here. They will pop up to your house, they will blow up your phone because we need that bread. They're not thinking about whether or not your child is successful. You think they calling you like that and threatening to call DCFS because they want your child to be the president? No, no. They pressing the issue because that's the check. Your child is a number, but you ain't no teacher though. You ain't no teacher. You ain't no teacher. Um, and so I just want to wrap this up with saying, like, as humans, we learn from experience. We learn from experience. We learn from experience. What experiences are you going to ensure that your child has? You know, in an educational matter. Um, I was listening to a motivational speech this morning and it was saying, uh, it says something about the percentage of people that uh, have nice shoes or nice clothes or nice things, but they don't have a library card. And I thought that was so powerful. Because what do we value? What do we value? Library cards in most places are free, and books and knowledge are free. But we'll pay $700 a month for a nice car. We'll pay $3,000 for some Balenciagas. What is that teaching our kids? Where's the education in that? We'll pay for a nice tablet or a nice phone to keep our kids distracted and quiet and out of our faces. Xbox, PlayStation, because we know that you're gonna be on it for hours. You're not gonna bother me. You're not even gonna think about eating. What does that say? And so I hope that nobody feels attacked. I hope that this just sparks your brain because that is literally my mission on this earth. Also, if you guys are looking for tutoring, homeschooling, homework help, any of that, I do have my own virtual school. It's called Sparks Village Virtual Academy. You guys can find the um, the link to my website. Well, actually, you can't find a link to my website in the description because it's alive. So you guys can find the link to my website in the description of my previous videos, or you can just listen for it. It's bit.ly to bit.ly/Sparks Village. Like I said, we offer virtual and in-person tutoring. We also offer virtual and in-person homework help. We have our YouTube mini lessons online. We also have a couple of different worksheets and activities on our website that you can pair with some of our read alouds. And what else do we have? We have so much. We have a mentoring program for the youth. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. Yeah, no, I think that's it. So you guys definitely check out my website. Leave feedback in the comments. I am definitely open to all of that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I hope that you guys have an awesome Friday.